What is going on, guys? Kieran here, and today we're going to take a look at the exotic Pulse Rifle Bad Juju. You get this weapon from the exotic bounty known as Tolands Legacy, and in case you didn't already know, to get the exotic bounties you just have to go to the bounty tracker and just keep on turning in bounties. Now, the more bounties you turn in at once, the more likely you are to get this bounty, so what you really want to do is just wait until, you've got a clear day, get all these bounties, even the crucible ones. This is what I do, and just turn them all in at once. So if you turn all these bounties in, you increase your chance of getting an exotic bounty, which is called the Vanguard Mentor Missive, and you get to choose 3. But anyway, that is a story for another video. Now on to the Bad Juju. Now this weapon is one of the more controversial weapons in Destiny. Before the Pulse Rifle buff that we had in the 1.1.1 update a few weeks ago, this thing sucked. It had I think it was also it was a few changes were made to it before Christmas, I believe, as well. But when this game first came out, it had 15 rounds in the magazine, and it just didn't have a lot of impact at all. It's really built around a single perk, really, and that perk is called the String of Curses. Now, what the String of Curses does is whenever you get a kill, as long as you're actually killing, the magazine is automatically refilled. So it's, in essence, you've got infinite ammo. However, this isn't very effective when the impact is very, very low. So I'm very glad that the Pulse Rifle's got a nice little buff, this weapon is actually quite a viable choice for PvE at least. Maybe not PvP, sorry, but definitely player versus enemy. You're going to get a nice amount of kills with it. So I have actually been playing with this weapon quite a bit. I love playing this with my Sunsinger Warlock, just because also, aside from actually refilling the mag, you can refill your super a little bit quicker whilst using this gun, which is always a nice thing. Now, let's talk about some of the upgrade trees for it. So we have smooth ballistics, which is less recoil and a penalty to range, soft ballistics, which is less recoil and a penalty to impact, and my personal favourite, smart drift control, predictable and controllable recoil but a slight penalty to range. However, this gun is fairly decent on range anyway. I can land headshots from afar quite easily. So don't particularly worry about that. It also has armor-piercing rounds, which means the Iridium Core rounds overpenetrate targets, and it also slows down weapon handling, but you can also shoot through light cover as well, which is always nice in PvP at least. I haven't really found any uses for that in PvE. Yeah, that's what I'm on about. Yeah, no real use for that in PvE, however in PvP you're going to like that. It's always nice. You have Send It, which just increases the range and accuracy, and you have Perfect Balance. But I'm going to go with the armor-piercing rounds, just because I kind of like the extra little bit of impact you get. Now, I did talk about these String of Curses, but let's go over it again. So, every kill you get, it refills the ammo magazine. However, I really do not recommend using this gun with the higher tier enemies, especially on the yellow enemies, such as Hallowed Knights and Imperial Cabals, and those kind of enemies. This is really a gun for taking out the tier 1 enemies, which are the dregs, the vandals, the thralls, the acolytes, stuff like that. Just, if it's got a red health bar, you can probably take it out with this gun, but don't even bother with the higher level enemies. Otherwise, you're not really going to get the most out of this perk. And obviously, you have just the regular damage upgrades. You do need an exotic shard to fully upgrade this gun, just like all the other exotics. So the perks on this gun are fairly cool. I actually really do like the String of Curses perk. However, it is very situational. You're really only going to you're only really going to want to use this gun when engaging groups of thralls and acolytes and other small enemies. But now that we spoke about the upgrades, let's jump into some gameplay. Now, in the game clips that I'm about to show you, look very carefully at the amount of ammo in the magazine, and you can actually see the String of Curses perk at work. That rhymed. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. I can make it rhyme anytime. But yeah, definitely watch the ammo counter, and you can see the String of Curses perk working. It really does show quite well against these smaller enemies, like I said. So just take a look at it. It is the bottom left-hand corner. Just watch the ammo. In terms of the cosmetics of the Bad Juju, it actually uses a scout rifle model, oddly enough, for a pulse rifle. This is actually the second pulse rifle that I know of that actually uses a different model. I believe the Red Death uses an assault rifle model. So I don't know what it is with pulse rifles doing this. It's kind of weird, but never mind. It does look really nice. I love the green sort of gas on it, the skulls, the bones on it. It really does look cool. The sights are nice and bright, so you can hit precision shots with this, no problem. The burst fire, it feels weighty enough to actually, you know, want to use. Maybe not as high impact and as weighty as the Red Death, but it's a very nice gun for PvE, and I very highly recommend using this with a Warlock. Just because with the characters that are going to use their supers quite a bit, you're going to want to be able to get your super up as fast as possible, which means the Bad Juju is the right weapon for you. Because part of the actual perk means that you recharge your super energy faster. You couple this with Obsidian Mind, and you are really, really going to have a powerhouse of a Warlock. You can use your super quite a bit. Like I said earlier, the sights are nice and bright. You can get some nice precision shots. Range isn't really a massive issue on this. You can engage people at medium to long range, no problem. Short range is actually kind of a pain in the arse. I mean, it does have increased hip fire, I believe, but honestly, I don't really. I think it's actually kind of counterproductive to use a pulse rifle close range. I just think it's kind of stupid. I do recommend as a secondary to equip a shotgun with this weapon, just because, you know, short range with a Bad Juju with a pulse rifle just isn't a very good idea. Just use a shotgun or a sniper rifle for long range, and you're going to be golden. And then you're going to have your supers up quite a bit. It's just going to be an all-round nice weapon to use. It feels nice. The sound isn't really anything spectacular. I mean, let's just pause a second, just listen. It just sounds like any other pulse rifle to me. I mean, it sounds a little bit different, but nothing like the Mida multi-tool or anything like that. So don't get too excited about the sound. But overall, this is a fairly well-balanced weapon. The String of Curses perk does balance out some of the issues, but really you're going to want to engage sort of these lower tier enemies with this gun. Overall, though, I think the Bad Juju is a very worthy addition to your exotic collection, especially since the patch. The String of Curses perk, despite its flaws, is actually really, really useful in certain situations, and it's definitely a gun that you can pull out in sort of these situations where you might need to rain down a continuous stream of fire, like, for example, the Crota's End raid at the beginning with all the lamps, where you've got all the thralls running at you. I think it's going to be perfect for that. But maybe for the bigger enemies, try and leave it, switch to a different gun. If you want to use a pulse rifle, definitely use the Red Death for the bigger enemies. But I think the Bad Juju is a good gun on its own. If you want this, like I said earlier, pick this up in the exotic weapon bounties list. You should get 3 exotic weapon bounties at the same time. You get to choose one. This one is called Tolands Legacy. So if you want this, pick that up. It's fairly easy. You got to do 25 strikes in a row. That's probably the hardest bit. And then you got to do some crucible stuff. But other than that, it's really not a problem. It's way easier than some of the other bounties that I've done. I mean, I did the Thorn bounty a few days ago, and my god, that was a pain in the arse. So this one is actually kind of a breeze to get through when you compare it to weapons like the Thorn. So, anyway, that is a review, guys. Overall, Bad Juju, great gun, situational, but it is a very, very nice gun for these smaller enemies. Thanks for watching, guys, and join me in my next exotic review, which will be of the Thorn.